always been bound to each other. We always will be.
Gather up all the leaders. We have a lot to talk about.
I don't know if there's a happy ending here.
Hello to all the geek enthusiasts, nerd aficionados, and deadheads. It is I, Mess5150. Hold on, wait, I'm missing something. Here we go. It is I, Mess5150. Here with another. We're here for another TV Talks, The Walking Dead. We missed you guys on Monday to be able to record this. Had some things happen, but we want to make sure we got this episode out because there's only one more episode this week to talk about, and we didn't want to double up. Being that this was a penultimate episode, as everybody is calling it. So this week we are discussing The Walking Dead Season 9, Episode 15, The Calm Before. And there was a lot of calm in it for me, but we'll get into that. I am your host, Mess5150, joined by my other two, what do we call it? TWD family friends, the aficionados of Deadhead. We have Mrs. Malice. How are you?
I'm good. And it's funny that you say Deadhead considering you put our heads on spikes.
Everybody always thinks this is a podcast for what's the band? The Deadhead with the Deadheads.
The Grateful Dead.
Grateful Dead. Yeah. They see the tweet, the Deadheads, and they're like, "Ooh, a Grateful Dead podcast."
Not that they're not good. I'm like, you know, they're good, but this is The Walking Dead.
Yeah. And then we also have Icy Zorro on the cast with us. How are you?
Great. Now I'm feeling like the ungrateful dead, although I feel like I should have tie-dye on for that. I want to know, did you literally go outside and find an appropriate stick to put under your head?
I was standing outside and they had just done some cleanup with the gardening, and it was
You're like, I'm taking that home. Like when you're in fourth grade walking home and you see a stick that could make an X.
I was just like, I'm just going to grab this, and there's my head on a pike, you know, for if I had all green screen, I could just do the full cast as my head on a pike. But
I don't have a stick, but I have like a plank. So you know.
My head wouldn't be on the pike. I'm the host for this show. You're not going to get rid of the person that runs the thing. Apparently Walking Dead won't do that. So complaints. So with this cast, it's a reaction, recap, and review cast where we talk about the most recent episode of The Walking Dead. If you guys are listening to this anywhere that you're listening to this, please make sure that you review and subscribe. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure to hit that subscription button, hit the bell so you can be notified whenever new videos come out. And if you guys want to be here live with the actual recording of this video and react with us, make sure to come subscribe over at twitch.tv/Malice Corp. Every Monday, 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, after an episode airs, is generally when we record, and we'd love to have you guys be a part of the conversation. So with that, let's get into real quick what the episode was about. Usually we break down scene by scene. It really was two major things going on. You had what was going on at the fair and what wasn't going on at the fair. Real quickly.
Real quick, there was like a 2 to 3 minute opening scene.
Exactly.
We never met before the credits. But even within that 2 to 3 minutes, I was like, wow, the writing has become incredible on this show.
Oh,
There's people I'd never met before, and when we first see them fighting outside of Hilltop, I'm like, ooh, are these going to be bad guys? She found a community, they're going to storm it. No, next scene, it's their anniversary again, and they're in Hilltop living there and happy and carving little tokens. And then, next anniversary, they're headed to the fair and they're dead. And within that 2.5 minutes, I was like, oh, you gave me, it was like the beginning of Up. You gave me a complete story arc in 3 minutes. That was incredible.
Which I wish this was our anniversary of the TV Talks, because I could just be like, happy anniversary. Here's a new podcast.
Here's an H coin.
The H coin. Do you not notice that that's the same H coin that is around what's with his neck? Yeah. So I thought that was kind of pretty cool.
Hildy was the one making them all.
Explain where it came from, and I will say Alpha does clean up pretty nice with her new wig.
Well, it's real hair, so
expensive wig.
Yeah.
For someone else.
So we'll talk about the fair really quick. So it opened up with Ezekiel giving his speech for, you know, why this is so important for the fair to happen, and that it is happening, and kind of talking about the fall and, you know, Rick's whole plan that he had, and we no longer have Rick and Carl. And then he even brings up
that they have to avenge the fallen.
Yeah, there's Avenge the Fallen from The Walking Dead. And yes, Dylan, we do read The Walking Dead, and we talk about the television show every single week, and then try and talk about comparisons between the comic and the show. So thank you for finding us, because he said he finally found somebody that reads The Walking Dead, and we love having people here to actually discuss with us. So
I'm comic in the other room. Sorry, they're usually displayed too.
Yeah, they're coming up pretty. Robert Kirkman's original plan was for 200 comics, and they're coming up on 200 pretty quick. And so he said he's going to keep doing it. So
nice.
He hopes to outlast the TV show, which at the same time, Scott M. Gimble is like, I want the show to go forever. So it's kind of a battle of who's gonna last longer.
So hint, somebody needs to get me the next comic book. Hint. I can read it.
Yeah. Because you read the paperback, the trade paperbacks as they come out. Yeah. I usually get the comics as quickly as I can as they come out, and then get the omnibuses, which the next omnibus comes out in 2 months, I think.
I am a bit behind. I think I'm in the mid 150s. I think I'm somewhere past, so somewhere in the early stages of Commonwealth.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So we get reunited, and it feels so good because you've got everybody coming to see each other. Carol was on her way to go get Henry, but no, she doesn't have to go get Henry, because here they come. They come riding through. My rarest issue, I believe I have issue 1 and 2. So, and I have the stuff Dylan asks in the chat room. I also have the limited edition of issue 100 that you got for surviving the Walking Dead run at San Diego Comic-Con.
I wish I could have gone to that.
So, I don't know how rare that one is, though, because I think most people survived that ran through it. So,
did they really? If you didn't survive, you just didn't get the book. They're like,
yeah, that was your thing. Yeah. Is that if you were infected, you didn't get
going on a pike. Your head is going on a pike.
I thought maybe those who didn't survive got your hat.
My true reward for that was after running through it, I went and got myself a Choco Taco.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, so everybody got reunited. Tara was very unhappy about seeing Lydia there.
Well, before we even got that, we got Carol reuniting with Michonne and with Judith. You know, you get the feeling she really hadn't seen Judith in like 5 years or so. I thought that was a really sweet little scene, you know?
Yeah. No, I thought it could have been better, because her reaction was just dead to me. Like, she went through a lot with that little girl, a lot with her. That reaction should have been stronger.
No, I thought it was perfect. I thought it was perfect. This is a girl that Judith has been hearing stories about, and like she said, drawing pictures of for most of her life. But this is the first time she remembers, like, you know, actually meeting them. So yeah, it's kind of weird. It's like if you were told you have a great granduncle for 15 years and then you met him, you'd be like, hi, what's happening? I
thought, Judith's reaction was good, but I thought Carol should have been more, you helped raise this little girl, you know. Sure.
But again, she hasn't seen her in 5 or 6 years. And the kid is old enough to be she's got a personality now. So she's got to treat her like an adult now. I thought they played it well. That's me.
No, I once again, I love the acting in this episode. I thought it's a good episode. I just wasn't pleased with the end result of it, and I think because I think they I will get into it.
Because you got to talk about that Oceanside girl with her one-liners.
Yeah, and that's, you get the leader meeting, signing the new constitution. Favorite part about that was when Ezekiel being the first one to sign it and writes really big, and he's just like, John Hancock, eat your heart out. So
I thought Michonne did the right thing doing that too. I thought that was really, really cool that she did that, because they looked to her to being the leader, but she has the whole council that she follows too. So having Gabriel did that made her look stronger.
Yeah, and at the same time, I looked at her face and I was like, if these communities succeed and this becomes a founding document of a new civilization, like, You just gave up part of your place in history. That's, I mean, I guess that doesn't really matter in the present day, but wow, that's a big move.
Well, at first, the way I saw it was I was like, okay, Ezekiel signing based off the comic book, head on Pike. Carol signing, she's dead in comic, which I don't want her to be dead in the show, but Carol signing, she's dead in comic. Gabriel signing, he's dead in comic. Michonne's not signing, and we know Michonne is going to be leaving show, but she's still main right now. Daryl isn't signing. We know he's the main character. I'm like, okay, they're setting up everybody that's going to be head on the Pike because they're going to be all the names from the Constitution. And
that wouldn't surprise me if they'd done it that way.
That would have been a massive hit though, because imagine you get Gabriel, Carol, Ezekiel. Then it would have been like, holy hell!
Gabriel, it would have been great because what's going on between that group of people.
Yeah,
gets knocked down to 3.
Yeah, I'm kind of sad we didn't take on any of the sides of the love square.
Yeah. Gabriel. I mean, yeah. Okay.
Gabriel's a cockroach. He survives everything.
Yeah. So, except the comic book. He doesn't survive the comic book.
His character's getting so much up now too. He's so amazing now.
Yeah.
My take on.
But the next thing that we get into is really enjoying the fair. Henry, Lydia, and Carol and Ezekiel having their nice little family conversation amongst each other. Luke and Alden talking about doing the music and playing the 2-man band.
Alden's trying to get out of it. Luke's trying to convince him, and that's where we get Enid trying to convince Alden to do it as well, saying, I want my crooner boyfriend to croon. And they bring up the whole, Rob, boyfriend, am I your boyfriend? I want you to be my boyfriend. Oh, so high school. But as my note for this was Enid, and I did not know who was going to die, but I wrote down Enid equals happy and a doctor. She's dead. Yeah.
And she's teaching other people how to be a doctor. And I love that every
CPR booth.
Something.
No, she's teaching people CPR. She wasn't teaching them how to be a doctor.
Oh, yeah. Okay. But I love that everybody's teaching like something to do or how to build something or trade.
Yeah.
And Eugene, the smartest of all of them, is in a freaking dunk tank.
The guy may know everything, but God, he's hard to listen to.
Yeah. So, and then you see how great of a shot Judith is because, of course, she hits nails the thing and drops him into the dunk tank.
I've seen better arms on a spiral galaxy. Ding! Crap.
And Seth Dillon said that they were so mad when they killed off Gabriel in the comics because they were just starting to build his character. So, yeah. I agree. So we get the most impactful scene of everybody enjoying the fair, and that's Connie. And what's Connie's sister's name? I can't remember. Does anybody remember?
Oh, that scene made me cry so hard.
I had it earlier.
So well done.
Kelly, that was a great scene. I put impact scene because you left me. You didn't say goodbye. Any goodbye could be the last goodbye. You got how important a goodbye is in this world because she's right. Any goodbye could be the last goodbye.
Their acting was phenomenal too because the raw emotion you can see from both of them in total silence, which is so beautiful. It was actually my favorite scene.
Well, that's one of the reasons I'm glad they cast actual deaf actresses for this role. Connie is 100% deaf in real life. The girl that plays Kelly is partially deaf in real life. So, it was great.
They did amazing.
We got Sadiq and Michonne talking, and the pseudo Henry love triangle that was developing between Addie, Lydia, and Henry, and the other friends playing. That weren't actually Henry's friends playing a prank on Lydia.
Which it made me upset for the future of this society because I'm like, well, these are clearly the cool kids or whatever, and they're just douchebags. Yeah. Like I was hoping for better from the leaders that they have surviving.
No, it's all gonna set up that way. So, but then the group start getting ready to leave to go to Hilltop to go help and protect. New Glenn leaves with the first group, and the first group includes Daryl, Carol, Michonne, Magna, and Yumiko. You see the highwaymen cleaning up the roads. They found the anniversary couples, not the actual bodies, but the destruction that was left behind by Alpha and the Whisperers.
Yeah, overturned wagons, spilled H coins, trail of blood.
Yeah. And we get the first group that left the main group that splits again to go look for whatever happened at the destruction. And that split up is Carol, Daryl, Michonne, Yumiko. And I put that's the group I would want to be in if I was, heading into a zombie fight. So
I wouldn't mind if Magna had stuck around too. She's pretty handy with knives.
Yeah. So, but then I put, but not when Whispers show up with Beta. So.
Yeah, the look on Daryl's face. The look on Daryl's face when Beta shows up in the back of the crowd, he's like, God damn it. I knew I should have looked down that elevator shaft.
And Beta is just awesome.
As you said last week, he should have shot an arrow in his head down, but I don't think he could have seen down that far. I think he can just block. So
4 stories down, he could have done something.
At least run down and check,
Right, poke him with the stick, see what happens.
Yeah, a really long stick. Here, hold on. A stick, really long. No. Okay. So yeah, we get back at the fair. Eugene and Rosita talking.
Yes.
What do you guys think about that scene?
Wait, I was answering a question in chat. I was all yes. I just randomly said yes.
Oh, yeah, because stuff Dylan said, I haven't watched Walking Dead since Negan slit that one dude's throat. Is it worth getting back into? How does the Whisper Wars compare to comics? The Whisper War is really, really well. We're not getting into the war yet. We're just in the.
We're almost there.
Yeah, the Whisper setup is fantastic. You should get back into it. Here's the big thing: the All Out War was really dragged out, but
2.5 seasons.
Yeah, this last season has been phenomenal. Season 9 is very, very, very good. What I basically told people is if they want to get back into it, Season 7, Season 8, especially if you're somebody who read the comics, you'll get the gist of things that are going on. Season 7, Season 8, go look on YouTube, find those quick cut togethers of like everything that happened on the show.
Best of Jeffrey Dean Morgan, Walking Dead.
Yeah, and watch those recaps, and then jump right back in on Season 9 because Season 9 has been phenomenal. You have a new showrunner; they are making their own show now for the most part. Because
huge time jump.
Yeah, they're using elements from the comic book, but not copying it 100%. So yeah, I would say Season 7, Season 8, watch the recaps and jump back in on Season 9, and I think you'll be very pleased. A lot of what's happened with Season 9 is getting very critical, good reviews, not a lot of viewership because so many people left after Season 7 because they were getting tired. They were getting kind of bored with it. Really a good time to come back. On that note.
Yeah, as far as getting into the Whisper Wars, this episode was called The Calm Before. The next episode is called The Storm. So
yeah, what do you guys think about the Eugene Rosita scene? Where Eugene's hair was nice and wet after the done.
My favorite part where he talks about the role playing.
That was good. That was one of my notes.
I couldn't stop laughing.
That's one of my notes. Was I want a transcript of Eugene's RPG campaign. I want to know what's going on there.
Well, I love that he put like pregnant Rosita is part of injured community. I was like, really? Like she's like, don't push it.
Yeah. My favorite part about that scene was just the radio, the ham radio. If you remember, the whole reason that they went into Whisperer territory in the first place was Rosita and Eugene went to set up a ham radio relay because they're trying to set up communication with all the different communities. And having read the comics, you know that getting that radio working is going to be a huge turning point. Yeah. Well, I mean, we still don't know if Georgie is the Commonwealth or if Commonwealth's going to be another thing altogether. We don't, but the fact that they're bringing in that radio, which in the comics was a linchpin of getting them to the Commonwealth storyline, I think that's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree because it does play a key factor in the comics, especially. So next we get to Tara, Gabriel, and the Oceanside leader talking about plans for what's coming up. And Tara does bring up that winter is coming, and I went, yes, Game of Thrones starts in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
That too.
That's what I got out of that scene.
Now, a lot of people were. I know Mrs. Malice, you had a problem with the Oceanside leader lady. It's not the character everybody seems to think it was. It's the little girl that wanted to kill her when she first got there. It's the little girl that kept giving her the finger. Just recast to age her up.
And now she's the leader. I get that, but like you would think, being a leader, you would have more say than Oceanside's down. We're cool. We can do that.
I mean, yeah, but this is the first time we've heard from them in like most of the season.
Yeah, but if she's supposed to be the leader of Oceanside, she should have more of a voice than just one-liners. And that's what made me mad about her.
I get that, but the whole point of that scene is that all the communities are coming together to sign the charter, so we can't have a 5-minute argument with them first.
Well, I didn't want them to have an argument, but like her say, "Oh yes, Oceanside's always there. They'll always have your back," something like that, not just Oceanside's down. The frick is that?
Now I want that on a hat.
You know what? Mrs. Malice, I think you could probably find an Oceanside's down hat somewhere near you, because I'm sure there's got to be.
Seems likely.
So I know you don't live in Oceanside, but you're closer than I am.
Dang it. Put that girl's head on a pike.
Okay, so we get to very similar what happens in the comics. Alpha mingles amongst the fair, walking around, talking, looking at things.
She does it way better in the show than she did in the comics.
She gets information quick. That was the thing that I was like, when she goes and talks to Ezekiel and she's like, so did Michonne really come? I can't believe it was like, holy crap, how did you get all this information so fast just walking around?
Well, and so again, there's a ton of foreshadowing in this scene, and then the people that get killed later, these are all people that she heard snippets from or saw interacting while we saw her wandering around the fair. Like, it makes sense to me who they picked based on who they had her interact with.
Yeah,
that was coming.
She blended in so well and cleaned up so nice that it was probably hard for anyone to recognize her.
Oh yeah, she's like a quick change magician.
But it was another amazing actress.
Well, plus she was smart that anybody that from the Hilltop, she covered her face a little bit more. Even Rhett Butler and her and the
blacksmith.
When they walked by, she pulled her hat down a little bit. Mm-hmm. So Ezekiel's never seen Alpha. He doesn't know what she,
Mm-hmm.
So there's no having, outside of a bald woman that they probably explained to him. Her face is clean. She knows things about people. He's not going to have any clue that.
Yeah, he's not going to be picturing the sort of squatty butch bald lady with all the heavy dirt and makeup on her face and bad teeth in this pretty long blonde-haired girl with the.
How did she get her teeth so clean?
That part, steel wool? I don't know.
She cleaned up nice.
like I said, she's essentially a quick change magician. That's impressive stuff.
Her ability to adapt and go from with zombies to humans was just, she's the alpha. I mean, amazingly that she can do that.
She turned on the charm quick too. She went easy for him to talk to. She dropped the whole Southern accent thing, which was nice.
She still had a bit of a Southern accent.
She had a Southern accent.
Yeah,
a
little bit, but it wasn't the heavy drawl like she had before.
Oh, she was still talking because she was talking very quietly still, and I was like, man,
she was absolutely whispering. Yeah.
So it's just character traits.
I need to find the sweaters. It's going to be a cold, hard winter.
Yeah. So then she gets back with the captives, which are Daryl and his group. She takes Daryl off and shows him the Army of Dead once again, very close to what was going on with the comics, where they've been getting all the zombies recruited together to, create this wave. And she even mentioned that she's got her people down there with them, helping kind of direct them
Just steering them in a big whirlpool of undeadness.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
So,
but yeah, that was, I mean, so at this point, I mean, they've been talking about how Daryl is going to kind of step up to a more leadership role. And this is almost a direct correlation to the comic books where that speech was given to Rick rather than Daryl.
yeah. Well, Rick's gone, so so we can't get that to him. So we get the movie at the fair, and none of us were right about what we thought it was, and I can understand why nobody guessed it right, because they went way back on the movie that they were able to find, and that was the Quack-a-Doodle-Doo, which was the very, very first Baby Huey cartoon.
Yeah, you know the massive popularity Baby Huey had amongst our generation.
Baby Huey was a big
large duck
that wore a diaper, and very popular cartoon back in the 50s. So
back with the greatest generation. Air quotes.
And just I thought it was funny. This is the first one. I can give you a cartoon summary if you want on the episode.
No, I can't remember what we all guessed it was going to be. I think I probably said Beverly Hills Cop 3 or some nonsense like that.
Released in 1950. It was a 6-minute and 49-second cartoon. And the cartoon summary is: Mrs. Duck longs to have a baby and wants to hatch a batch, so she swallows an entire bottle of vitamins, and presto, out pops a huge and clumsy baby Huey. We first get to see...
That is not how duck birthing works.
Then Mrs. Duck dresses him in a brown diaper. The giant infant, unaware of his own super strength, causes a lot of trouble, and the other ducks want to chase Huey and his mom away. Later, a hungry fox shows up. Huey wants to play with him and saves the day. Yeah.
I just like that the final screenshot that we see of the movie before we get pulled into a different storyline is Baby Huey pulling the face skin off of the fox.
Yeah, and then Mama Alpha sitting next to her daughter right after that. I thought that was like a great little kind of foreshadow thing.
Well, okay, so before this, we had Henry had been searching. Lydia sees Henry interacting with his family, and she sees this whole community interacting with each other, and she's just kind of dumbstruck by, like, I thought civilization was dead, but here it is right here, you know, in a small version. So she wanders off by herself, not really knowing what her place is. Henry goes and finds her. They have their little kissy face session, and then he's like, I gotta go fix a pipe. I'll be back. At which point, I thought for sure Alpha was going to snatch Lydia. Did not occur to me she might be snatching Henry at the time.
Yeah, I didn't think about that either.
Well, I think they've already snatched him at that point. Because
I'm saying right then he says, I got to go check on a pipe. That's when they get him. Yeah.
But they were outside even before they went into the movie theater when he said he had to go check on it. They hadn't gone into the movie theater yet.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
So when she comes into the theater and sits down next to Lydia, that's what I was saying is he's already gone at that point.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we're on the same page. All right, fine.
All on the same page. We all saw the episode, kind of.
So this entire time they've been like we know that heads are going to end up on a pike, and we don't know that heads are going to end up on a pike, but everybody has been talking Skybound and AMC about how epic this episode's going to be. This episode is longer. We're going to get deaths. Oh my God, it's going to be a tearjerker. It's going to be sad. And you know, you're separating all the biggest characters on the show right now and being surrounded by whispers. It's like they're just setting it up that these are the people that are going to die.
In my opinion, when they separated the characters, they separated the strongest characters.
They did. But that was what do we usually call it? WTF writing, where it was like, hey, we're gonna throw a curveball at you and we're gonna get all of you. And no, you're not gonna get any of us, because one, we know Daryl had a Brinks truck backed up to his door to keep him on the show when Rick was leaving. So you're not killing off Daryl.
I think they kind of got me. I still until they showed that last head, I thought it was going to be Ezekiel.
Okay, that I understand, but I'm talking about the group that the Whisperers have: Daryl, Carol.
Oh, sure.
did you at any point think, oh, these are the people that are gonna,
No.
That's what they're trying to set up. That's what they're trying to show you is like, oh, it's gonna be a tearjerker. You guys are gonna be so sad
I didn't ever think that any of them were in real danger.
because you're on a proper, intelligent level. And so I look at it logically as well, but I know that that's what the writers are thinking when they're writing it that way, because they're like showing you how everything's going great over at the fair. So it's these people that are going to die. And then they just release them. And she tells them what part of the land is theirs and don't ever come over to their land.
Mm-hmm.
And they marked off the land for them. And they go over there and they see Sadiq tied up to a tree. And that's where I wrote up, how did the doctors survive?
Mm-hmm.
Because as they walk up, you get the heads on the spikes, and you have the 3 highwaymen that were only introduced 2 weeks ago.
Actually, it was just two of them were highwaymen. DJ, the guy with the shorter beard, the dude, he's a former survivor.
Okay. Well,
As was the red-haired girl. I had to go looking to figure out who Frankie, the red-haired girl, was. She is one of Negan's former wives.
Oh, that's who she is.
Yeah, because definitely there was. I mean, it was the same in the comic though. There was of the 12 people killed in the comic, there was like 10 of them where I was like, yeah, I don't really know enough or care enough about this person to care if they're dead, other than that it affects the story. So there's only 2 real significant ones done in the comics.
Dylan gives us a question.
There's 3 significant ones here in this episode.
Yeah. To cut you off really quick, we'll get into it in a second, but we like talking to our audience, and we have stuff Dylan in there.
Yeah.
Question about what was your favorite Walker death on the show, and he says he can't remember his name, but his was the dude from Everybody Hates Chris.
I can't remember his character name either. He's on Whiskey Cavalier with Maggie now.
Oh, is he?
About Noah?
Yet. Did you have a favorite death, Mrs. Malice, on the show?
Oh, there's been too many. I think my favorite grossest one was the beach zombie one, where she takes the stick and shoves it in his head and it makes that gush sound. Gush. Actually, I take that back. Hold on. That's not my favorite one. The one with Daryl on his bike shooting zombies on his bike was my favorite zombie death.
Oh, good lord. What about you, IC? Do you have a favorite Walker
Off the
death?
top of my head, like people killed by walkers, I can't really think of too many that stand out for me. It's been 9 seasons. There's so many at this point. They all kind of blend together. You know what? Alicia Witt. When they were first introducing the survivors, Alicia Witt, the redhead that they got in the satellite bunker. When the zombies got her, I was like, yeah, the solid one.
Yeah, I don't have a specific Walker death. I have favorite people death, people that got killed. Like I loved when
Glenn.
No, I'm not that. I'm not that mean.
Jerker.
I'm not that mean. No, but I loved when Negan's right hand man got killed. So my favorite death is
that was good. Yeah.
By far.
Zombie. Rah, 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 rah.
Yeah, I know you make people getting killed by walkers. Yeah, I don't have a. You know what? My favorite, just to show how stupid you can be in the zombie apocalypse, is only a couple episodes, and it was trying to save the horses and getting bit by them. That is a to teach you lesson, and you now know that the zombie apocalypse comes across, let the horse die.
Okay, well, in that case, I'm going to have to backtrack and say Shane, because the Carl's dumbass left that zombie sitting in the middle of a pond and didn't think, hey, maybe that's going to get away later.
Yeah.
Kill them as you go. Kill them as you go.
Exactly. So there's our favorite. Our favorite Walker deaths are the teach you moments.
Yeah, I would have to agree with that, because I mean, there's like so many people killing zombies and zombies killing people. It's like, oh my god, there's just too many to name.
You can only see so many people get bit in the neck and then blood spurting out. It all kind of runs together.
The really sad one was what's her name's sister getting bit in the arm by a zombie when
Andrea's sister way back in the beginning.
Yeah, way back in the beginning. That was probably the saddest one. That made me very sad because I liked her little sister.
Which I'm binge watching Supernatural. She was on an episode of Supernatural.
Was she?
Yeah.
So, hey, what's her name's on Supernatural too?
Yep. She's already gone from where I've been.
Was he?
She's in like 2 episodes.
Yeah, and he says Otis had a badass death as well, and that dude that died on top of Glenn. Yeah, there's been a lot. 9 seasons in, there's a lot of deaths, some really cool ones and some really heartbreaking ones.
Well, the dude that died on top of Glenn was like a foreshadowing of Glenn's death too.
Do you guys have a favorite zombie? Mine is still the well zombie.
Because well zombie. Easy. Ooh, no, you know what? Recently replaced by the 2 zombies that had sort of fused into one.
Oh yeah, with the tree zombie? No.
Yeah, it came out of trees, but it was like one of them had like kind of grown around the other one's leg.
Yeah.
Spider zombie.
Spider zombie.
Yeah, octo zombie.
Mm-hmm. All right, so on to the deaths. Who died this week?
Yeah, so she tells Daryl, the boundary is like the forest in the east there, and the river to the south, and we marked the border to the north. You'll know it when you're on your way back. And he's like, what does that mean? She's like, you'll see.
Yeah.
Oh man, this girl is amazing. She's such a good actress.
So they get there. Sadiq is tied up. Sadiq's alive, and they walk up the hill, and they have all the heads on spikes. You have Highwayman, Frankie, who's the redhead, Butler, who was one of the kids that was a jackass. So yeah, Addie, the girl that had the crush on Henry,
clearly had a crush on him. Yeah.
Rodney.
Rodney's the other kid.
Yeah. Okay. So both the kids. Okay. Then
there was. I think there was just 2 of the kids. What was the name you said before Addie?
Rodney. Who's it? Rodney.
No, Rodney and Addie were the 2 kids that were Henry.
Oh, Butler. Oh, Butler was the guy you were talking about. That was a That's
DJ. Yeah, DJ was the savior. Yeah. Okay.
And then Enid. So,
Butler. You mean Brett Butler? Tammy Rose.
Oh yeah, yeah.
The actress.
That's what I meant. Yes, the actress.
Oh,
I can't remember her character's name.
She's the only one that carries over from the comics to the show as far as who's dead on stakes.
Yeah. Enid, which we called 2 weeks ago. So, because we said that she was moving back to California, and there's no other reason to move back to California if you're filming in Atlanta for a TV show.
Yeah. Yeah. If you have to relocate for a show in Hollywood, have somebody else fill out the paperwork on the down low for you.
Yeah.
Because people will find out.
Tara, which was the shocker because she was the most important character that appeared on these stakes. She's running Hilltop right now because Maggie's gone, and she's been on the show for 87 episodes. So
she was number 4 on the call sheet at this point as far as seniority. Yeah.
And then Henry, which to the applause of many people. Yes.
Finally. Happy dance.
That makes her all happy.
Edit in my happy dance.
No more replacement Carl and bad acting, as IC Zorro says. So,
all right. So, main concern with Tara: who's going to be in charge of Hilltop now?
That's what I'm wondering.
Seat?
Is it going to be Aaron?
Look at the last.
Could be the next in line.
Theoretically,
yeah.
But Aaron spends a lot of time at Alexandria.
Well, he had only been doing that because he was hanging out with Jesus. He hadn't been spending time at Alexandria. He'd been spending time out in the field with Jesus, learning to fight with one-handed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. He's an Alexandria resident though, right? Because he's part of the board. Aaron's part of.
Yes. You're right. Yeah.
Yeah. So he wouldn't be the next in line. Never mind. Because
we know it's not Daryl.
Not Enid. It's dead.
look at the past few. We got Gregory the dipshit. We've got followed by Maggie, who disappeared and is probably off with what's her name, Georgie. Then we've got Jesus, who's pretty much dead. Then we've got Tara, who's dead, and so who? I mean, I guess it could be Daryl. There was a point earlier where King Ezekiel was like, "Hey, when you come back, if you want to live the kingdom, we got a spot for you." And he's like, "I'll think about it." I kind of had a revelation right in that minute. You know who Daryl is? He's Strider from Lord of the Rings. He's Aragorn.
Yeah.
He's a ranger just out there doing his own thing, but he will eventually come back and lead something.
I mean, if you want to really start strengthening these new characters, and I'm sure we're going to get somewhat of a leader with the next episode, because the next episode is another small time jump. It's about 6 months.
What about Olivia's boyfriend?
Olivia died in this.
No, her boyfriend, not Olivia. Her boyfriend.
Olivia was gay with Tara.
Oh.
Who are you? Enid's boyfriend? Alden?
I mean, yeah. Sorry, oh my god, I got her name mixed up again.
Alden's
Yeah.
a former savior. He has been there for 6 years, but I don't know. I don't think.
Yeah, I couldn't remember his name. What is his name?
Some way they can subvert themselves. They've already started kind of merging in with the group, the city, by living there. If they, in the next 6 months, I could see Magna being put into, or Yumiko being put into lead, because
Yeah.
I think they're too new relatively.
I think right now they're too new, but we're getting a 6-month time jump for
Even
the next
then,
episode, so
even as a community that's been there for 6-7 years, longer.
Longer.
I know.
They've been talking ever since what's his name left, since Rick left, about how they're going to be putting Daryl into more of a leadership role. Guess what? Leadership spot just opened up.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, but whoever becomes the leader of Hilltop dies.
As long as he doesn't become a doctor too.
And that'll make me even more mad if he stays there, because then I'll really say that he has given up on trying to find Rick, because now he's not even out in the woods looking for him.
Yeah. Damn it.
So.
The greater good comes first.
Put Dog in charge.
All right, dog.
Oh, by the way, that was a cute little scene where he asked Condi to watch Dog for him.
Yeah.
They are.
But-
I'm shipping them real hard right now.
the Carl. I'm still calling that ship Carl.
Carl, yeah.
Carl. Screw Donnie. It's Carl.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So the last thing that we close with is Sadiq giving a eulogy speech about those that died, and how he talks about that they all fought till their very last moments, and
Like these people didn't know each other, but they fought together and for each other like they were family, and they died as heroes.
Yeah.
He's like, she told me to tell you guys, and I think she wanted me to scare you and break you up. I don't think that's the message we take here. I think we take the message that we all stand together. I love
all
that.
I got from Sadiq on that moment was he's the dude that's blind from 300, the last man that's like, go back and tell them what happened. But yeah, that's what I got from that. But okay, so likes and complaints. I gotta get my complaint really quick, because we were debating this beforehand. I am really, really peeved off and pissed with the people that they killed off, because they've been building this up so much. When you read I do all the research to go look for like extra articles and notes and things to talk about on this cast, and everywhere building up that this episode is just going to be so heart-wrenching, and it's just going to hit you. It's going to be worse than when Glenn and Abraham died. And it felt like a cop-out for the writers. It's like, well, we're going to kill a lot of people, but not a lot that you care about.
I disagree.
They should have if they really wanted to make it like when we lost Glenn, they would have not only killed Tara, they would have killed somebody else like Michonne, or a character that we are all starting to fall in love with, but they didn't.
I think that's what they thought they were doing with Henry. I think they thought everybody was on board with Henry.
No.
You're not, because you just
screw that kid.
Carl and pissed everybody off and tried to replace Henry. So
however, here's the thing. I get that it would have been more impactful to people that know the story if they'd gone with Ezekiel, but that had been too obvious.
Mm-hmm.
And I honestly think if Carol's husband had died, she would have been pissed. She would have wanted revenge. They killed her kid. Carol is going to be an unstoppable rage monster at this point. They're going to
agree with that. I love that factor of it, but I am pissed on the factor that.
And with that, it wouldn't have mattered if they had killed Ezekiel or Henry, because she still would have been the same reaction. I
think she's going to go harder for Henry than she would have for Ezekiel.
No, I think it's
poignant. The two most poignant characters that died in this scene in the comic books, Ezekiel and Rosita, are both alive, because hey, we need to have a 4-way love triangle with Rosita. Screw that. And then all the characters that are still alive on the show that you could, Gabriel, dead in the like I mentioned before, who's dead in the comics and who's alive. There's a lot of people that are still alive, and it just bugged me. And I'm so glad they didn't kill him, because his character is building up so well. Even if Dan Fogler died, that would have had more of an impact on me than what this had.
That would have pissed me off.
But that's what reaction you should have off of somebody getting killed on a show is actually have not like a cheer yay.
No. My notes are Enid sad face, Tara sad face, Henry yay. But I think that killing Enid and Tara was a good move. I think that accomplished what you're talking about.
Well, no, because even 2 weeks ago when we said that Enid might be getting killed off, you're like, She's not really a big focus anyways on the show right now anyway.
Tara.
They should have made her more of a focus leading up to this.
Tara was. Tara's the main one.
I think Tara's a big one.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tara is the big one. Tara is also a leader of one of the 4 communities. That was the impact that Killing King Ezekiel had in the books.
Mm-hmm.
I may not have dwelled on her as much this season leading up to it, but Tara, like I said, she was 4th in seniority on the show. She is a leader of the community. That's a huge impact. That community is now leaderless. And then you add in the Henry thing, which covers the other half of pissing off Carol. And I think that's going to... Scott Gempel on Talking Dead said they sat down and talked about who they were going to kill specifically for a while, trying to figure out what was going to have the best emotional impact versus what was going to be unexpected versus what was going to have the best plot lines leading from it. I think they did a good job. I think this is going to be the most interesting outcome.
Yeah. It this is the reason. It bugs because when Kirkman writes deaths, he writes deaths because there's no way out of it. That's the way it goes. There's people he doesn't want to die, that it just happens that way. That the way stories go, he'll try and write people to break up, but the way that he's writing, it doesn't make sense when they start doing this. And it's all his writing. And that's what's so strong about his show. Gimbal, it feels like, well, we don't want to be Kirkman, but we want to make sure that we get the ratings. But it's just like, it's take a fucking chance. Sorry.
Well, here's the thing too about that. If they wanted emotion from their audience, they should have killed off more important characters. I mean, I'll be honest.
One more important.
When I watched that scene, the only thing that made me emotional was Carol's reaction to losing Henry. And when I watched Glenn die, I screamed. I cried. I was in tears for days.
There's nobody on the show right now would have that impact. Maybe Daryl. Maybe Daryl.
Maybe Michonne. Carol is another one that I would probably cry over, but that's about it.
Those are the 3 most senior people on the show.
Yeah. Or even Rick, because Rick's not dead.
Yeah, but he's also not on the show.
No.
I mean, I gotta give it to, even if Eugene was one that died, I think that would be even more impactful. Even though we all hated him last season, but
yeah, he's got too much storyline still to come.
Yeah, I get it. I understand.
It just didn't have the gut wrenching impact you were expecting, or that they
and the way that they were building it up like it was going to was what bugged me. You know, because
I get that.
If you know you're taking a step back from the source material on how important that scene is. And you are taking a step back by not killing off Ezekiel. And yes, I know that would have been but once again, that's going to be seen from the people that read the comic. It's not going to be seen from the people that watch the show. And a multitude of the people that watch this show are people that don't read the comic. A lot of comic readers have turned off the show because they don't think it meets up to the source material.
Well, and he talked about that a little bit too on Talking Dead. He's like, look, it's the butterfly effect. Small changes that we made in the interest of originality or just, workability from a TV standpoint snowball over the years.
I like the 2 differences. It makes it alternate butterfly effect, different universes. We lost this character, but we kept this character. That's pretty much how it is. And you guys just miss it. I just had somebody just had waving their hands at me off screen going, I like Eugene. I like Eugene.
But that's what I mean is that, when even when it follows the comic on the deaths that happen, if it's known that that's who's going to die, it still has that massive impact because that character has been written up so well by what Kirkman created from the first place and them utilizing that. It's I guess I'm comparing the deaths here to the deaths of Game of Thrones. When Game of Thrones has a death, it's impactful. It's huge. Because they're not.
You don't think that these deaths are going to be impactful or huge?
But they're not afraid about who they kill. That's the problem. Versus this one felt like they were afraid. Like it was like these characters are too important right now that we can't kill off.
Well, you brought that up yourself. When Kirkman killed off people, it's because he had no choice. In this case, they had a choice. Somebody had to die.
And that's why I feel like their choice was. That's why I didn't like it. Is because I feel like their choice was we're taking the easier route out because we're already seeing decline in viewership, and if we kill off even more impactful characters that people like this much, then that's really bad for us. We're just gonna lose even more viewers. So let's do this.
That you, like you said before, it's a cop out. At the same time, they just added a bunch of characters we've already fallen in love with. The deaf girls, you know, the music teacher. So even if they killed off another main character, yeah, it would have had an impact on us, but we'd still watch it because we got new characters we've already fallen in love with too.
I think the reason that I was bugged about it was not so much like I understand Tara and Enid and even Henry. I understand. I think what bugged me was like, you just showed us the Highwaymen. You've had what 6 speaking lines main with these kids that are part of Henry's group. And I think it was just the choices that were made, you know, and that's I don't know. I think I think if somebody from Magna's group had died, being a new character even would have been even more impact
too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like it would have been Kelly or possibly Yumiko.
Which still would have been more impactful than the Highwaymen that were only been on 2 episodes.
And again, in the book, there are 12 people that died, and I gave no shits about 10 of them.
Yeah, I know. But they could have done that too. They could have put freaking, which they did. Frankie. Nobody knows really who Frankie is.
I had to look up who she was. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so they did that. It just outweighed, because they even talked about it where the Walking Dead mailbag came out this week, and we've talked about in the past some of the questions in the mailbag. One of the questions that came out was, will we be getting more strength of storylines from the B characters to, you know, start building up this connection with them? What was their response? Well, there's so many characters on the show that we can't guarantee that. Well, shit, then maybe you should have killed off some more people.
That's why they killed off 10 people.
But ones that made an impact, not somebody that stands off in the corner.
These are minor characters we no longer have to write storylines for.
They didn't even have storylines in the first place.
I hated seeing Tammy Rose in the first place. She was on for 6 episodes over the last season, and I hated her character.
I think the best part about this, as I said in our chat prior to this, and I seem like the negative Nancy on this episode. I'm sorry, but the best part about this,
I have to agree with you on this. So.
The best part about this is, as I said earlier, we talked in our last episode when they introduced the Highwaymen. I said the Highwaymen is a super country group with Willie Nelson, Waylon Jennings, Chris Christopherson, and Johnny Cash. Well, now bring the real Highwaymen that are left. I want to see Willie Nelson and Chris Christopherson on The Walking Dead as new Highwaymen. Because I think Chris Christopherson would be amazing on The Walking Dead, and just seeing Willie in the background always smoking a joint would be hilarious. So
we need to have a whole field of just stuff growing, because there's, you know, they doesn't have to worry about anything. Just zombies getting into it.
Yeah. So
I want to see the cast of Tombstone as the highway guys.
That'd be awesome.
Sam Elliott and yeah.
I would love that. Oh God. Okay, so I mean, it was a good episode, and I love the writing, and to the point that we always talk about some of the stuff going on outside of the episode, news-wise. Norman Reedus had an article with Entertainment Weekly, and he was talking to Andrew Lincoln, which he calls him Andy. And he said Andy said that he left the show at the wrong time because the writing is so good, and Norman Reedus told him, yeah, you did. So even Rick, even Andrew Lincoln is realizing that they've really turned a corner with the writing, but it took Rick stepping away for him to pretty much have to take that corner turn.
Yeah, if he hadn't stepped away, they would have probably kept going with the similar timeline that they were on before, and we wouldn't have these massive changes that I think has been a really good thing for the creativity of the show.
All I have to say is, when those movies come out, they better be phenomenal.
They have a high bar set.
Oh, they're going to be. And on one other note, something that was nice that was in the mailbag that I didn't realize was announced earlier, but somebody once again asked, are we ever going to see Heath again? It seems like everybody just forgot about Heath, which he is an important character in the comic books, but he left the show.
Yeah, I thought they basically said that actor's never coming back.
That actor got big. He got huge. He got picked up by the largest like Hollywood representation company out there, and they're basically like, no, you're the star on the rise, that you're not going to be a second fiddle on The Walking Dead. Well, it was confirmed that Heath is in the helicopter community where Rick is. So we
Oh,
will,
nice.
So he's gonna be in the movie with Rick.
He'll be in the movies. Yeah, he'll be in the movies. So we will see Heath again. So we'll find out what happened when he rode off to look for other stuff. And
I think the last time I remember seeing him was when Tara went to Oceanside and there was all that like sand on the bridge.
Yep. Zombies. They were fighting their way through the Zam.
Because yeah, he is a super important character in the comics.
Mm-hmm. He was.
He was, yeah. But yeah, that's what we got for our hour-long cast, because we got another cast to do here in an hour. Did you guys have any other quick notes that you wanted to say? That love, hate. I know you had some notes, Mrs. Malice, on the episode.
Pretty much kind of covered them all. I mean, since to be honest, I had to go back and watch the ending since my thing didn't record the ending.
And that changed all your notes. You're like, oh, it's not as bad as I thought.
Pretty much did. The only hate is the Oceanside girl at this point, you know. And I mean, I'm glad that the group, because I did mention that I did not like the fact that, you know, Carol, Daryl, and Michonne and what's her name, you know, went off on their own. So I wasn't happy about that. But I'm glad they're all alive, because it did scare me that they died. So that was like my cliffhanger. So
yeah, that would have been one hell of a cleaning house if that group had died.
Yeah, but you knew what was going to happen, because like it was said, Norman Reedus already signed a big fat contract for the show. So
I'm really glad. I think I said this on our last episode. I think we were all trying to make predictions, and I was like, God, I just hope that they don't do like we see that there's heads on pikes, but we don't get to see who it is. End of season. I'm glad we didn't do the massive clip.
Yeah, and even another character, which I'm glad they didn't kill, but another character that would have had an even more impact than some of these characters that they showed, Jerry. How impactful?
Yeah, Jerry would have hurt. Yeah,
Jerry would have. That would have been the one where if you want to get the fans shedding a tear and going, no, Jerry would have been the one.
Yeah,
Jerry's literally my new Glenn. Just to put it that way.
Especially in this episode where you see him spending more time with his family, and you see him like crawling around doing the rawr, you know, and with his kids and stuff. Oh my God,
he looked like one of those monsters from Final Fantasy. I can't remember what it's called, with the quad horns on its back.
Yeah. So I mean, that's what I mean is I think they dropped the ball on the fact that I think they did a bit of a cop out. I understand you have to.
I will admit, Jerry would have been a great one.
Yeah. So, yeah.
I will say my favorite scene was probably the Death Girl scenes when they're communicating.
Oh, by far.
It brought me a tear, and I loved every communication. Their faces, the movement, everything was just so beautiful. I didn't even read the words because I could just tell the raw emotion in it. It spoke to me. I loved it.
I think my favorite scene might actually be the little thing right at the end. So Mrs. Malice will not have seen this, where Daryl takes Lydia to go leave the H coin necklace by Henry's pike. I think that Lydia will now be taking over the Carl storyline, and Daryl will be playing the.
Really, you don't think it's going to be Judith? Because now
I think it's
on the Negan Judith aspect of it.
It's all Judith.
I'm talking about like I think Daryl will become sort of a father figure to Lydia. That's what I'm saying.
Okay,
yeah,
I can see that.
Well, that was one question that was posed in the mailbag, was like Daryl and Carol started with pretty much a girl that they couldn't keep safe with Sophia, with Carol's daughter.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
then they had Lizzie and the other little girl. Look at the flowers.
But that was Carol by herself for the most part. Daryl wasn't there for a
right.
lot. So.
Well, I'm just saying nobody should give Carol kids anymore.
I was gonna say the same thing.
Oh no, it's just that's what they're saying. But the Carol and Daryl started with the girl that they couldn't save.
Yes.
Now you have Lydia, and Carol's now going to be hanging out with Daryl. So you can have this. Now you have a way to fix it, where you have a girl that you can save from the Whisperers.
No, because then she'll probably die next, and then because especially if she's gonna be stuck with Carol. Yeah, she's gonna die next. Carol, they die.
I would guess that Carol doesn't want to take any more kids at this point. She's lost 4 that I can think of. 5 if you Carl.
Honestly, they need to stop looking at the flowers.
I think at this point, Carol is going to be focused on nothing but 100% pure, unadulterated, scary ass revenge.
Well, and that's the biggest thing, as Alpha said, that you have to show what an alpha is, and now you're going to see what a true alpha is.
She's going to.
Alpha is, and that's Carol, and she's a badass.
Yep. So that's our cast.
Coming back.
Yep, I'm excited. That's our cast for this week. We'll be back next Monday to talk the finale, and a 6-month time jump. And hopefully, from what I'm seeing, Negan is not in the cell anymore.
Unleash the Negan, please.
Release Negan.
This
Oh
guy,
God, I can't wait.
this guy right here. No, wait, that's right.
God, I can't wait. I hope he needs. Yeah.
Hashtag free the Negan.
Free Negan. Put Negan, Daryl, and Carol out there fighting against the Whisperers, and oh my God, that will be just epic.
Along with me.
Jack says Carol keeps kids like they're hamsters. Yeah, pretty.
All right, let's talk about where we can follow everybody. If you guys want to follow this cast, if you want to follow us, all the casts that we do, head over to malice-corp.com. It's the main website. It's the hub for all the podcasts that we have. 6 different podcasts. So if you guys like talking about all things nerd and all different types of nerd and geeky stuff, definitely head over to malice-corp.com. Click on podcasts and other media on the website, and you will see all the different podcasts that we do. Wherever you're listening to this, make sure to subscribe, drop a review, leave a comment. Let us know what your thoughts are on the heads on the pikes. Wondering why Ned Stark wasn't there. So yeah. So if you want to follow me, you can follow me on Twitter at @mest_Malice Corp or on Instagram at mest5150. IC Zora, where can people follow you outside of these casts?
At IC Zora on Twitter, Instagram, and PlayStation Network.
And what about you, Mrs. Malice? Where can people follow you?
Nowhere, because my head's on a pike. Mrs. Malice 413 at Twitter.
4134.
4134. Sorry. I forgot the 4.
Super active, you can tell.
Very active on Twitter. And then you see some of the hashtag handles of all the different podcasts that we have here as well on the screen to watch. So thank you once again. As always, remember, we're all infected. Stay safe and keep your heads off the pikes.
Carry on.
Hashtag free Negan.